Thank you so much for joining the Sue Fries Show. And once again, I'm so happy to be with you today. I have a guest with me today, and we're going to talk a little bit about everything. And we're going to talk. His name is Drew Haney. He's the founder of Rooster Capital, LLC, and a former Army officer who now specializes in vacant land investing and development. And I'm very interested in this. I don't know if you are, and maybe it's just something that maybe you know somebody else that might be interested. It might be just a whole new avenue for you. So he has completed over 700 land deals across 30 states, totaling more than $9 million in transactions. This sounds like somebody I'd want to listen to. How about you? Since 2023, Drew has developed over $2 million in private capital, with approximately $3 million currently working to generate strong returns for his partners. Faith is the cornerstone of Drew's life and business. This is how we connected. We connected through Convene, which I've talked about Convene before. And it's a biblically principled CEO group that gets together once a month. And then we have a one-on-one with our chair. And we came together for like a Christmas gathering. And it was really nice at a restaurant, really casual, and food, laughs, and fun, and new friends. And Drew is a new friend for Sue Fries. And we got to talking a little bit, and his wife was just adorable. We just hit it off, kind of, and I kind of wish she was here, darn it. But she'll hear this, and she'll know that I really appreciated her and her spirit. It was great. And Drew was just so welcoming, and I had so many questions, and I have questions today that we're going to ask, because there might be someone out there that really just wants to know more about what you do, and it might be something they've been answered a prayer, and they didn't even know it even. Could be that. So, welcome.
Thank you, Sue. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah.
And when I walked in, it reminded me, my dad worked at TV 38 in Chicago, which was the Christian TV station, and so brought back memories from 20, 30 years ago. So I'm excited to be here.
Wow, that's so great. See, I didn't know that. That's great. If anybody would have said I was going to be doing this, I would have said, you're crazy. But here I am, and 17 years on the air, and very excited about being here, because there's so much in this world that keeps us so busy, and just, a lot of turmoil and a lot of attack. I don't know about you, but there's a lot of attack. But then there's all these blessings, and we have a choice on what we're going to remember and what we're going to strive for, and what we're going to just base our attitude on. And gratefulness is really big for me. Is I just want to remember all the time the many blessings that God has put upon me. And one is just meeting new people and learning new things. And it just helps us be bigger and better because of the relationships, and because of those relationships, their stories, and what they bring to the table. And maybe this is something that's really going to be an answer to prayer to someone. So I'm very excited about that.
Yes. Yeah, and I'm excited to talk about purpose, because I went through a funk about a year ago where I was like, is this it? Is it just about making money and then maximizing your free time and trying to get this massive spread between your dollars per hour and then how much disposable free time and income you have? And then what's next? Are we supposed to build orphanages? Are we supposed to do street evangelism? And so I went on this journey, this year-long journey, where I feel like just a month ago, I had this epiphany, this Holy Spirit epiphany, where I feel like I realized what my purpose is, at least in this next season. So I'm excited to talk about that.
And I'm excited to hear. I mean, that's great, because I talk about purpose a lot on this show. I talk about why we are here. In fact, I wrote a book about who am I and why am I here. And we all, I don't know, I think sometime during our lifetime we ask, is this all there is? I mean, is there more than this? And yes, of course there is. And what is my purpose? Why am I here? And so having you have that be at the heart of what you want to talk about, along with, what you do, I think that's amazing. And I'm excited about hearing that. And ask yourself this question. Ask yourself this question is, why are you here? Why are you here? And I can tell you that God created us for a purpose. And as we work and walk towards that purpose, it gives us meaning. It gives us significance. And it's more than money. It's more than accomplishments. It's more than that. The significance is how many lives have you changed by your presence? How many lives have you changed by something you've done or something you've said? And I think that that's so important when we get up in the morning. It gives us new reason to get up and get at it, just to move forward. What are your thoughts about that, Drew?
Yeah, I sold my first company in 2024, and I had my hours per week down to 5 hours a week. And I had done every single, I went through the checklist. I went through the Tim Ferriss 4-hour work week, and I designed the perfect business model where my time was extremely limited in the business. It was mostly running itself. And I hit this point where I said, is this it? Because then what do I do with my time? Then I'm supposed to build an orphanage or something. What's the purpose? So I sold the company. Rooster Capital was already in business for a few years before that. So I had two businesses at once for a while. And really, I went on this discovery journey of what is my purpose? And I think if you grow up in the church, a lot of times we see ministry and business as two separate topics where it's binary. Either you're in ministry or you're in business. And if you're in business, then you're supposed to be funding the missionaries. It's very binary. And I realized that for most of us, including me, the Lord wants it to be blended, where business is ministry. And so for me personally, Rooster Capital is not just about making money. It's not just about earning healthy returns for our investors. And it's not about bringing affordable capital to land business owners, but it's about connecting men and women, mostly men, because it's 85 to 90% men. But it's about connecting men together, where when men are together, the suicide rates plummet and the divorce rates plummet, and men can really experience the Lord together through a business medium. Because it's hard to get men together when you call it ministry, but if there's a profit incentive, you can get a lot of men to show up. So it's almost this undercover operation where we're making money together, but we're also experiencing our Creator together.
That is so beautiful. I'm just going to back up a little bit. And I was married for 32 years, and during my marriage, I kept wanting my husband to get more involved in understanding marriage, not having good role models growing up. I really wanted to learn what God says about marriage and relationships and whatnot. And we worked together. He was a firefighter and had this business, but we also had the sea shifting, which was working the pest control business together. And during that, we had terrible boundaries. There weren't healthy boundaries in the business or at home. And so that didn't work well. But I kept wanting to get him to read the Bible or understand God and understand scriptures. And I found this one ministry that combined the two, to where he would listen because he'd learn how to make more money. He would listen because he would want to know more about how to deal with certain things. And now I'm the CEO, and now I'm listening from both sides. But women are a lot more relational. They're more relational. They just are, just naturally nurturers. Motherhood and everything kind of gives us that role of nurturing. So it's funny that you say that, and it's so wise. Not so funny, but funny because that's how I got my now ex to go to these seminars and whatnot, is because he was listening to then the cassette tapes on teachings, because he wanted to learn more about how to make more money. But there was ministry in there. It was all about God is a God of increase. And so it came from a different perspective, but he was listening, all ears. And so it's really great that you're doing this. I'm thinking women need this too, but I can understand how, you're right. Men, and there's a lot more women in church than there are than men. And men are so vitally important to the health and wealth of a family. It's the cohesiveness of having both. And so I think it's wonderful what you're doing, for sure. And another thing is, men love to have a good time. I think women like to have a good time too. But I know that, men go on fishing trips and men go hunting and, all of those things, And I think it's great. I kind of like doing those things too. But it's wonderful that you're doing that. And I'd love to hear a story, but I also want to know about your name, Rooster Capital. How'd you come up with that name?
So I served 5.5 years active duty Army, mostly in the 82nd Airborne as a paratrooper. Had a break in service where I lived in Korea with my wife. My wife is fourth generation American from San Marino, but we met in Korea at church.
Interesting.
So I exited active duty from Korea, stayed there as a civilian. I was day trading at night, commodities, currencies, stocks. And then I joined the reserves in 2020. And my call sign in the reserves, because I was a company commander, my call sign was Rooster 6. So 6 is the designation for a commander. Usually 5 is the executive officer, and then 7 is the top non-commissioned officer. So Rooster 6 was my call sign. At the time, I was starting Rooster Capital, and so I like to name, I have 12 entities. I like to name them after animals because it's just easier to remember. So Rooster Capital is what was born.
Interesting. Okay. Well, that's really, because I'm like, Side note, I just got delivered today my rooster, and I have a silky chicken, and it's just different than the normal. I have 8 chickens, just normal hens. And then I have this silky one that I call Precious. She's like half the size, and she has like a punk haircut, and it's just really kind of cute. So I just got delivered today, male. And I don't know how all that works. I know that I've been getting eggs for a very long time, and they're delicious, much better than what you get in the store. And now I've been eating these chickens that my chickens are laying, and now I've got this, and I'm going to start having chicks. You know, that's what happens when you get a male and a female, is you get little chicks. And so I didn't know how all that works. So I thought it was interesting, and it's just a side note of how uncommon this girl is right here. But it's really fun, and it just was funny that Rooster Capital, and I just got a rooster today. I just think that's kind of interesting that it all happened on the same day. Wow. Anyway, so getting back to purpose. What would you say your purpose is now?
So I had a friend in 2013 who took his life. He had 4 kids and a wife. He was in the Army at Fort Bragg. And I didn't really process that event until a month ago.
Wow.
So 13 years later?
Yeah.
I just kind of shoved it deep back into my brain. Didn't really go through a ton of grief. You know, I was in my early 20s at the time, and really a month or two ago, I was thinking through, because his name was Mike. He showed no warning signs whatsoever. I even texted him the night before to see if he wanted to hang out. Showed no warning signs, and I realized men don't tell people when they're hurting, right?
Right.
So how do you get that out of them? Well, there usually needs to be fire, some meat, some whiskey, some cigars, possibly, something fun, and then a profit incentive, right? So for Rooster Capital, just last week, I hosted a 5-6 person mastermind at my house here in LA. And, you know, I had 2 guys from Texas fly in, 2 guys from Oklahoma, a guy from Pennsylvania, a guy from Hawaii, all guys I do business with. They bring me deals, I fund the deals. And, you know, we just had so much fun together. And when men feel comfortable, that's when their walls come down. And that's when the hurt comes to the surface. And that's when Jesus is offered as the solution to the hurt. Because Jesus can come in and he can heal any place you're hurting, he can heal that. And he can take away that trauma, and he can take away the lies of the enemy, and he can replace it with truth. So purpose in this season is to connect men through business, through Rooster Capital, both operators. So operators is a land business owner who is doing deals, and I fund their deals, but also with my money partners, because I have investors who lend to me, or I split my cut with them on a per deal basis, or soon they'll be in my fund. And those are mostly men on that side as well. And so connecting these 2 groups, not operators with money partners, because then I would remove my need as middleman, but connecting these men with each other in these 2 silos, I think is really the next season of life. And it's not just through video calls, it's also going to be through in-person events. And I'm really excited about it because it kind of hits on every single category a man is looking for, right? Business, camaraderie, fun, adventure. And so half the time we're talking about marriage, the other half the time we're talking about business. And it's been really, really fun so far.
That is so awesome. I think women need this too. You know,
They do.
I think women do too. You know, they're a little more vocal. I think
Yes.
they, you know, if they're hurting, usually no, not always. Because I had a young lady that I knew, not real close, that she smiled all the time. She was beautiful inside and out, and she took her life. And I still to this day don't understand. I have no idea how that girl who seemed like she had it all together and she was happy all the time, but she wasn't. She wasn't.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. Wow. So you've actually processed that to the point where you're putting that to use. You're saying, wow, there was something that was going on. I had no idea. And now that from 2013 till now,
Right.
you're going, well, what could I do now that could help people now not have that happen? Oh, I cannot believe that happened.
Because there has to be more. I hit this point where, okay, I'm making good money. I have full control over my schedule. I have employees. I can do whatever I want in life. There's got to be more. Right? And so we kind of struggle with this guilt. Okay, maybe I should open an orphanage in Africa, right? That's great. A lot of people do that, and I think that's wonderful. But what about people
Right here.
in our country?
Yeah.
Right? What about people in our hometown? What about our neighbors?
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about that. If you want, we can dig into the land flipping.
I really
and
want to.
Yeah.
I really want to do that. So you're listening to the Sue Fries Show. Sue Fries, spelled like fries, oneword.com. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear from you. And if you want to know more about what we're talking about or whatnot, just reach out and I can get you the information. I'm sure he's going to want to give you the information today. But even if you miss that because you're driving or whatever and you don't have a pen, it's okay. Don't worry about it. You can go to Sue Fries, spelled like fries, oneword.com, and you can find this show. It'll be on probably a week from now. We're on Facebook Live on the Sue Fries Show, and we're also on YouTube. And so you can look it up both of those places too and see this live again. Okay? So yeah, I do want to go into that, and I'm interested personally.
Yes.
I'm interested. I love real estate. I usually buy real estate with a proper building on it, but there's a country song that says just buy the dirt, buy the dirt, and I'm like, yeah, buy the dirt, yeah.
Yeah. It's a really small, niche business model. And it's actually multiple business models in one, where on the lower end, you have a flipping model where you're buying something for less than what it's worth because it's an illiquid asset. So very similar business model to CarMax, where you bring in a car worth 20 grand, CarMax will offer you $10,000 for it. Why would you say yes? Well, if you want cash that day, right? Maybe you don't want the headache. I've sold a car at a discount before just because I didn't feel like dealing with it. So that's land flipping, buying something for 30 grand, it's worth 60. And you're basically asking thousands of people for a discount, and a handful of them are in whatever situation where they just want it gone, right? And then there's also land development, where you're usually buying at market value, and then you're increasing the value either through subdividing it, so taking 100 acres, splitting it into 5, 10, 20 child parcels, and then you're getting an appreciation per acre through that. Or you're changing the zoning, you're improving it through paperwork called entitlements, and you're getting permissions from whatever governing authority controls that property, so usually a city or a county, and you're improving the value that way. So let's say it used to be just residential zoned, and then you take a year and you get it approved for multifamily. You get some of the studies done, you get the engineering, you get the soil done, and you can also make some money doing that. So those are the main three. There's plenty of other little micro strategies in there. But what Rooster Capital does is I started this business model in accident where I started funding deals with excess cash, and then it turned into a real business model. Rooster Capital fronts the money for those land subdivides or those land flips, and then I share the profits with the operators. So let's say 40-60 in their favor typically. And then we just do that as many times as we can. And so when I run out of my own money, which is all the time, I bring in money partners, and then they get an equity cut of my cut. And so they're earning healthy returns, usually 20 to 30% annually. And then I'm essentially a middleman at that point. And then the operators, the land flippers or the land subdividers, they're able to do 2, 3 times, 4 times more deals than they would otherwise, because they have, from their perspective, an infinite supply of capital.
That's pretty amazing. So let's say I was interested in looking into this. What would be the steps that a person listening right now might be interested in doing it? What would be the steps that they would need to take? Oh, this is going to be a cliffhanger because 2 minutes, we're going to go off the air. So people are going to have to tune in to the second half.
Yeah. If you want to work with me directly, drewhaney.com, DREWHANEY.com. If you want to do the business model yourself, you can Google land investing, land flipping, land subdividing, look for YouTube courses, and then eventually I'd recommend getting into paid courses. I've been through 5 different paid courses. I've spent over $100,000 on education because you can either learn through making expensive mistakes, or you can pay somebody else to teach you the mistakes that they've made.
Mm-hmm. That's very good advice in any aspect of anything. That's one you can take away for golden nugget for anything and everything that we do. Yes. So I don't want to get deeper in because I'd like to get deeper in after.
Okay.
So a little more about you is that you're a devoted husband, proud father to 2 young daughters who remain his greatest motivation and purpose behind everything he builds. So how old are your daughters and what do you do with them?
May is 7. She's in 2nd grade. She's
Aww.
in Mandarin immersion in San Marino. And then Ruby is 4. She's in TK. And they go to the same school. We walk them to school. My wife really enjoys those walks. My wife is very involved in ministry, a lot of volunteer. And so we're really enjoying our life here in Southern California, because for me, it's a newer experience.
That's great. So we will be back with more of the Sue Fries Show right after this brief break.
We know where to look, what to use, and when to act. Through environmental stewardship and advocacy, Termite and Pest Control protect people, homes, and businesses.
We know pests and what solutions are strong enough to control pest infestations.
We know what to use, with the latest options plus alternatives to eliminate pests while protecting valuable property.
We know it's more than eradicating pests.
It's balancing effectiveness with environmental responsibility.
Thank you so much, Ecola, Termite and Pest Control, for sponsoring this show. Ecola has been sponsoring the show for 17 years now. I cannot believe it's been that long, but yes, it has been that long. If you'd like to sponsor, please get a hold of me, talk to me by emailing me at SueFries@likefries.com, and I'll be happy to talk to you about sponsoring. I know a little bit, just a little, about advertising, and I can help you understand if you're in a specific county that you want to have the signal go to, or if you want to have a broader reach, we can do that too. So I can help you in all of that. You can test it with the Sue Fries Show, and when it works, which I believe it will, but when it works, then I would turn you over to a representative that can help you go further with it. But yes, we would love to have that opportunity to get to know you and talk to you about that. And if you'd like to sponsor this show, please, please, please give me an email and we will talk further about doing that, all right? All right, so Drew Haney is with us, and he is the founder of Rooster Capital, LLC, and it's about specializing in vacant land investing and development. And we were talking before the break about that, and it's intriguing to me. I know not everybody's into buying properties and buying land, and I've never been into buying land, but they say buy the dirt, right? And there's only so much dirt. There's only so much. And so eventually it's going to be all gobbled up. And so I don't know about you, but I've thought a lot about like living off the land and getting off the grid a little bit and having lots of animals and acreage and all of that. And I'm already doing that actually to a degree. And I find it very intriguing for me because getting out of the city is a good thing. It feels good. So Drew Haney might be the person you need to talk to, and maybe it could help you financially. And, there's a lot of different avenues he's talking about. So Drew, take it away. Tell us more about this.
While you were speaking, I realized that a lot of times we think about rural America. If you've ever driven across the country and, you drive through hours and hours of nothingness, we think that land we think it's not usable, right? We think it's for cattle or, right, for solar farms. But what's very exciting is very, very soon, the technology for clean drinking water, for battery storage, septic's always been there, but all of the technologies are improving to a point where building an off-grid house or an off-grid cabin is going to be very affordable very, very soon. So I was in China in April of 25. I toured 8 tiny home factories where they are building entire homes in a factory, and they have these factories in the United States as well. And very soon you can order an entire house that comes on one truck. It's set up in one day. You can buy a machine that takes moisture from the air, including desert climates, and makes drinking water and water you can shower with. Solar is getting better. Battery technology is getting better. And so very, very soon, a lot of these parcels in the middle of nowhere, 3 hours from the closest city, will actually be possible to have entire communities out there. I'm not saying that's what I want for my life right now, but it's very, very exciting for the business model.
Yeah, it is. And I have a friend that has tiny homes that's manufacturing, and you probably know him too. And it's great. They're on wheels and they just can wheel it down there. So yeah, there's a lot going on, and it's exciting to have these because we do have a housing shortage, and it would be nice to be able to get these people with some homes. But also, just if you want to have something out away from everything and you just want to go there, and you can do that. And I think that's wonderful. It's opportunity is wonderful, and it's out there. So this brings up the point where you're going to have to find a plot of land to put this tiny home on, and that's where you come in, or someone comes in.
Yeah, so it's a value chain. So you have the sellers who maybe they inherited the land, right, or they bought it from a tax auction 30 years ago, so their cost basis is close to nothing. And maybe they bought it 30 years ago and they planned to build a second home, and then something changed and now they don't have a use for it anymore. So those sellers sell to a land flipper at a discount typically. Land flipper cleans it up, does some mowing, maybe fixes some title issues. Then they resell to a retail buyer, typically either on owner financing or with cash. And then that retail buyer can use, essentially we're taking this property from people who don't want it and they're not enjoying it, which is God's creation. And then a land flipper is able to put food on the table because they provide a service of liquidity. Mm-hmm. And they're able to get it in the hands of these buyers who are very, very excited to use the land. Even if it's cheapo desert land, Mojave County, Arizona, middle of nowhere, they bought it for $5,000. A lot of those buyers, that's what I started out doing, buying properties for $2,000, reselling for $5,000. And a lot of those buyers, they enjoy it for years. They go out shooting, take their dirt bikes, go camping, and it's a very enjoyable business model to watch this value chain where everyone's able to win, everyone's able to walk away with what they want. And I think there's some criticism in the business model where there can be concern that the sellers are getting taken advantage of, right? Because they're selling at a discount. And that was my concern when I started, until I hit 2 different seasons in my own life where I was willing to sell at a discount because I wanted speed and liquidity, right? So we were moving from
Right.
Kansas City to California, and we had 4,000 square feet worth of furniture, gave it all away for free, right? Because we wanted it gone in 2 weeks, not 2 months.
Right.
Sold a used car at a discount, same thing. And so it's a really exciting business model. It's also very boring to most people, which is kind of nice. Same thing with termites, right? If you have a boring business model, there's not a lot of smart competition. And so if you're reasonably hardworking, like Sue or myself, you can do really well in the business model because all the Harvard grads are competing in the business models that sound cooler.
Right.
Yeah.
There's some truth to that for sure. I wouldn't change a thing though. I really wouldn't. I love what I do. It's been good to me. Yeah. This is exciting. I mean, there's still like, I have so many question marks going on in my brain right now when you're talking, because like I buy property, but it's always got a house on it. So just buying a piece of land, and I've looked at land, and it could be $50, it could be $500, it could be, well, now it's more 5,000. I don't even see any 5,000s anymore. I see more like 250,000. That's what I'm seeing now is land that was before very inexpensive now has gone up to 250,000. I
Yeah.
see that a lot, where the space now is that, because everything has gone up.
Yeah, especially if it's in the path of growth.
Yes.
So if it's in the path of growth, growing city, those parcels will go up exponentially once they're in the tertiary or secondary market. If it's a rural piece, 2-3 hours away from anything, it behaves almost more like a luxury item, where the price floats and the price decreases based on how much extra cash Americans have at the time. So, for example, when did the stimulus checks come out? Was that 2020 or 2021? Probably 2021.
2021, I think, yeah.
We saw a huge boom in our business because Americans
Trying to do something with that money.
yeah, they need to deploy it. And so, prices are appreciating. I had 100 parcels in my inventory at the time, and they all went up about 50% of value. And you're selling more often. And so liquidity was really increased during, I would say, from 2020 to 2023. Now, from June of 24 until now, we're kind of back in the 2018, 2019 slower land business. Still works great, but I really enjoy the slower times in business, because if you can prove out your model when the margins are the worst, then when they get good again, you're going to really do quite well. And so it's been really fun to refine my systems. I'm starting a fund in the next couple of months. I'm bringing on an integrator for a minority cut of my business profits. He's going to build out a lot of systems, because I'm the type, I just want to hunt woolly mammoths. I want to bring in more business. I want to increase the revenue. I don't want to worry about the back office stuff. And so he's bringing those skills. He really enjoys it, and should be a really fruitful partnership, because as you know, as a business owner, you need to find people who enjoy the things that you don't enjoy. Otherwise, you're going to go crazy, and you're going to hit this glass ceiling, and you're not going to know why. And it's because you don't enjoy doing it. That's anything I don't enjoy doing, I procrastinate on it for weeks, right? Might as well.
My taxes.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy doing my taxes. So yeah, I procrastinate, but
Yes.
it would be so much better if I did it sooner than later. Yes.
Yeah.
But you're so right, and that's such a golden nugget for any business owner, is that, you choose to do what you do well and you like doing, and those things that you don't like doing, you need to find someone that's really good at it, so they can, just do really great at it, and then you can focus on what you're good at.
Yeah. A good litmus test is what skills in your business right now would you do for free if you weren't paid to do them, right?
That's a good question.
And
Yeah.
whatever it is, because I love negotiating on deals. I love looking at big numbers, big risk, and I would do it for free if it was a game, right? Settlers of Catan is one of my favorite board games because you're negotiating. So what would you do for free? And then everything else, try to outsource, right? It's easier said than done.
When you were saying that you had like 5 hours a week or 4 hours a week, I'm like, I can't even imagine that. And I'm just in awe of that because I work a lot of hours and I'm constantly just can't get everything done. And so I know that I need to take lessons from you or someone because there's so much that I just, and my management team is very much like that too. It's like we need to have people fill in those gaps to get released of that.
Yeah, I think I was able to get down the hours so low because I was willing to give a huge amount of control and discretion to the decision makers below me. Mm-hmm. And so the idea was, I'm going to let you guys steer the ship, and you might crash the ship, but it's okay because I'm actually on shore building another ship. So even if you crash it, it'd be a huge bummer, but I'm building something else, whether it's a project within that business or it's a whole separate business model. But then I got down to 4 or 5 hours a week, and it wasn't what I thought. It wasn't fulfilling. I found that I still spent 70% of my mental bandwidth thinking about the business and feeling guilty for not being in the trenches with them.
Ah.
So for me, and then I don't have any hobbies, so I like doing business. So for me now, my hours are significantly higher. I've actually been working 12 to 15-hour days lately because I had a big podcast. It's called RE Tipster. You can look it up. You can Google RE Tipster, Drew Haney. That episode dropped early January, and I've had an overwhelming amount of business come in. And so I enjoy working more. I enjoy being busy because when you're not busy, you have to answer the hard questions such as, what is my purpose? And a lot of us don't want to think about that because it's scary, because you have to go deep and you have to really peel back the surface. You know, I had to realize my identity was coming from my ability to make money and my ability to feel productive. Even if I was just printing off papers that an assistant can be doing, for me, it was realizing that my identity was not rooted in Christ. It was rooted in feeling valuable to the economy.
How many of you can relate to that? I think that we need to do a check and balance and assess ourselves on where are we on that. That right there that hit home for me. Where is your identity? Mine's in Christ, and I know who I am. I'm a child of God and ambassador to Christ. I know that, but I also know that I keep myself very busy being busy. And I know that there might be other things that I could be doing or led by the Spirit more if I was doing less. So that's really, between the eyes. And I think that's good. I think it's good. It's not a bad thing. See, here I'm on live and I'm saying, wow, I resemble that remark. And it's okay. It's okay because this life we have is a journey and we're all learning, and the Holy Spirit reveals things to us. And then it's up to us how we deal with that, right? How, are we going to really accept that and say, is that me? I mean, do I have a part to play in that? Or, nope, got this one, I'm good. We all have a choice in looking at ourselves, really, truly being vulnerable and allowing us to really take that in. And I'm taking that in going, yep, I have some work to do. And that's a good thing. And I thank you for that, Drew. Thank you for that. I mean, I really appreciate that. I do.
I've also gotten a ton of value in taking a Sabbath. So an actual 24 hours. I'm very bad at it still check my phone. But ideally, it's 24 hours with no electronics. You're not doing any chores unless you enjoy the chore. So if you enjoy washing your car or getting your hair cut, for me, those are my things I enjoy. Mm-hmm. You're doing those tasks and you're creating silence and opening up a space for God to speak. Mm-hmm. And then you're also giving your adrenaline system a rest, because otherwise we're so
Stimulated.
Yeah, our brains are so overstimulated, and if you go too long like that, it really wears on your body. And so I think modern day science is starting to realize how much wisdom there is in the Bible, just from the Sabbath alone, on how healthy it is to rest 24 hours once a week.
Do you do that with your family?
I do.
I mean,
and
does everybody put their phones in a box?
we should. We should.
My son says, "Don't shit on me." He just says, "Don't shit on me," because should, that word should.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. But Charlie Kirk said that. I saw it just recently, where he said, "Okay, everybody, this is the deal. The Sabbath.
Yeah.
Take it seriously. Take care of your family. Put your phones away. Turn them off." He goes, my phone is off on
Yeah.
Sunday. It's off. We don't look at it. It's just put away.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm hooked right now on something, and I'm not liking how it's doing. It's taking a lot of my time to be hooked on something. So I've got to do that. I've got to just totally put it away, and I've got to put it away at night too. Good advice. There's a lot of little golden nuggets. I don't know if you're catching them. I hope you are, because I definitely am. But the Sabbath is a very important thing to do. It's a new habit for us. A lot of us, it would be a new habit. And it takes 21 days, they say, to create a habit. So we just have to be aware of it and make it happen.
Yeah, and I think as a business owner, the concern is if I don't check my device for 24 hours, there could be an emergency that I miss, right? And I think it comes down to faith. Will God still protect me if an emergency happens, right? And is that worth the risk and the sacrifice? And I'm preaching to myself, because I usually make it to about 11 a.m. without checking my phone.
11?
And then, because I do keep it in another room, and then I sneak in the office and I'm like, okay, I'll just check real fast, right? And then before you know it, I've done 45 minutes of work. Another signal I've noticed is that if I'm able to go on a walk with my daughters with no device, I'm not in a hurry. They want to take their scooters, but they're super slow scooter kids, and I'm not annoyed. That's a sign that my system is at full rest, where I'm not in a hurry to be anywhere, and I'm just letting them in. And they're sitting on the curb a block away from home, poking at bugs, and if I'm at peace, then that's true Sabbath right there.
That is. And as a young parent, it's difficult. I mean, I'm a grandma now, okay? And I have little ones that are your children's age. My daughter's actually pregnant with number 5. I'm so excited about it. She's okay me saying that now. She's just, it's great having your mom on radio. You just never know when she's
Right.
talking about you. Yes, so she's probably listening right now, going, oh, there she goes again. But something that I've said numerous times that's new for me now is just being present in the present. Giving the present of your presence in the present. It's just, it's just amazing to me. And I have a new thing now where I'm going to be, every year, the tradition is to take the grandchildren to Disneyland. And some people are totally opposed to Disneyland. But my daughter, that's one of her favorite things. And so her daughters, 2 right now, we're going in a month. And we spend actually 3 different days there because she has a special program that she is on. And so we're going to do that. And what you were saying about going for a walk, their daddy and mommy, they all go for a walk all together. And there's right now 5 of them, 4 of them. 4 of them. There's going to be 5. And all 4 of them, scooters, whatever, and, got to hold a hand. And, but it's just so wonderful, that time of just seeing the kids just be kids. Mm-hmm. And I really recommend all parents that you take the time to do this with your kids, because it's so special. It's so special.
And like what you said, actually being present mentally and emotionally, because I spent years thinking that because I work from home and I'm an entrepreneur and my kids see me, I interact with my kids, let's say 6 hours a day. versus maybe the normal parent only gets 2 hours. But those 6 hours, I'm only focused half the time. And so I had a moment a couple of years ago. Actually, it was last summer. I was on the trampoline with my 7-year-old, and I was listening to a Zoom meeting while half playing with her, and I could tell she was bothered. And then I felt bothered that she was bothered, because my point was, I'm here way more than other dads, but they only care, is 100% of my parents' focus on me right now. And so that's a lesson to myself, is when I'm with my kids, I need to be present, because they don't understand my business model. They don't understand anything about it. They just know that they want my attention and love.
Am I really valuable enough for you to spend your time with me?
Right.
And there's this feeling of not feeling valued. I remember a time when I would take my daughter to piano lessons every single week, and I was having arguments with my husband and whatnot, and I was emotionally upset, and I can just remember this time. And I got to the point where I really wasn't focused on my daughter was behind the piano, and she was learning how to play, and it was great. And we got to the bass, where it's the other hand. This one, she was doing great with the right hand and all of that. And then she got to the bass, and I kind of lost interest because of things that were going on in my marriage. And so I kind of would be on the phone, or I would be taking a phone call. And so my daughter would look up, and she'd see that I was so preoccupied that I really wasn't present with her piano lessons. So she decided, which she's never done before, but she just quit piano. And it was because she didn't have my attention.
Yeah.
And it broke my heart. And I knew that it was my fault. And I've never said this to my daughter, but I know it was my fault. So we're reaching an end. We got 30 seconds left. What would you like to say to the listeners right now, Drew? Sorry, last minute, boof.
Go out, have fun, take risks, be hyper dependent on Jesus.
Amen.
Because I've tried everything, and Jesus is the only answer. It seems annoyingly simple. My website's drewhaney.com, and just excited to be in business, and excited to really feel loved by God.
Amen. And I'm really thankful for you guys to be able to have this Bible study with you. So be a blessing to someone each and every day. And until next week, God bless you. Bye.